Hey guys, welcome to an absolutely incredible day. And so here I have this creepy looking thing here, and it's a mannequin that actually is it's for hairdressers. And the reason why I have it is I have an 11-year-old daughter who dances, and so she is with me. She's with me part time, um, and when she's with me, of course, I have to take her to dance and get her ready. And one of the things that has been a real challenge for her and has been problematic is that it's just she has very long hair, like this, like this mannequin, and she needs her hair done. And she has long hair, and of course she's an 11-year-old girl, so she's very fussy about her hair. So, so I learned how to do. So anyhow, so to back up, it's just I wanted to be able to be able to look after everything my daughter needed, and I didn't want to have to go out and ask for help. I wanted to figure it out myself. So what I ended up doing is I bought this off Amazon for like $40, and I spent time practicing, and I practiced with this long enough so that what ended up happening is that I ended up learning how to do a ballet bun. Now it's not 100% perfect, but things I figured it out. And what was interesting now, it just and this is not a secret passion of mine, by the way. This is just I love my daughter, and I really want to be able to, I want to be able to find things that I can do with her. And this was kind of a cool thing because it was kind of unexpected, and I'm her dad, and I'm a competitive bodybuilder, and so this was not necessarily up my alley and not my focal interest, but again, like I said, I love my daughter, and I want to be able to be able to take care of the things for her, right? As all parents will. But what was interesting is that about doing this ballet bun and trying to figure it out, and lots of practice. And like I said, it wasn't absolutely 100% perfect, but it worked, right? It stayed in. She was able to go to her, spend the whole day at school, and then go to her dance for 3 hours plus, and have this thing stay in, which was actually pretty exciting. So, I mean, the act of actually buying this practice dummy here, and the act of actually doing the work, it really this kind of notion has actually showed up time and time through the course of my life. And why I said in the kind of the preview to this, it's what the ballet bun has to do with success in life, is that I realized that there's always a way to figure things out. There's always a way to move forward. There's always a way to move up to the next level in life, regardless of where you find yourself at. Now, again, I'm a 53-year-old male. I'm in the health and wellness industry. I do a lot of mindset work, and so ballet buns were not my forte. However, what was interesting is that if I look at my past, and if I look at where I came from and the journey I've been on, and it's been a really interesting journey, that it's just along the journey through life, it's afforded me many opportunities to figure things out, right? So I was kind of off the grid until 28, living a very precarious lifestyle. I won't get into the details of it, but it was a very dangerous lifestyle, and it wasn't going anywhere fast. So at the age of 28, I returned back to North America. And in doing so, of course, I came back without an education. I quit school in grade 10 and went kind of bouncing around the world. And coming back at the age of 28, I moved in with my parents, which was, I don't know if you've ever done that as an adult, as a mature adult. That was kind of demoralizing. It was kind of a bitter pill to swallow because I wanted to do things on my own. And yet I moved in with my family, and I started educating myself. And so I spent a few years in natural health care. I became a chartered herbalist, and I learned all sorts of really interesting healthcare modalities in the natural healthcare realm. And this is coming from a 28-year-old individual who spent a large portion of his youth traveling around the world, with having a bit of a thing for drugs and alcohol. That was escaping a big part of my life. But as an adult, I had to figure it out. I had to come back, and I had to partake in life. And I had to start figuring out what I was going to do, and because life was not going to give me anything unless I worked for it. So I became an inquisitive human being. Oh, it's not staying in here. I became a very inquisitive human being, and I realized that once I kind of got my mind focused, and I realized that I wanted to be doing something different with my life than what I had been the previous 28 years. That I would have to actually start looking around and seeing where success was already being had. And I realized, I remember this is about 20 years ago, I picked up a program from Tony Robbins called Get the Edge. And one thing that he said, and I'm not sure it was in that video series itself, but in many of his books, but he always said that success leaves clues. And so I looked out into the world and looked at what people were doing and how people were successful. And I realized that, well, if I wanted to do what other people were, if I wanted what other people had, then I was going to have to actually start doing what other people did. And I couldn't keep reflecting back on the fact that I had a challenging start to life, and I wasn't given a lot of opportunities, for a loving, supportive family, and for, money for education, and none of those things were available. So I started to figure it out, and I became a reader, and I think I've read every day since the age of 28, and now I'm 53, so I've been reading for a while. I've got a house full of books, and I find that simple things like learning how to do a ballet bun. Again, it's not a perfect job, and I'm learning, but I was willing to actually take the initiative to figure it out. I took the initiative to buy the head. I took the initiative to watch videos on YouTube, right, which is an incredible resource. And I took the time to practice. And because it was important to me, to have this, be able to provide this for my daughter, and actually know that there's something that the only way I was going to be able to see if I could do this or not was to actually try and go through and figure it out. And once I posted an image of the ballet bun that I had done for her, and a local hairdresser actually said that he would trade off fitness services for him teaching me how to do different types of hairstyles for my daughter, which I think is really cool. For all you fathers out there, I think you'd find that the same thing. So it's so again, the simple act of actually going on Amazon, buying the head, watching videos, practicing, such a simple thing. Really, that kind of behavior has shown up all through the course of my life when I returned back to Canada back in 1993. So for the last 20-some years, I've been trying to figure it out. And so from having, from not finished school, from having grade 10 education to having a life full of drugs and alcohol up until the age of 28, to living through some kind of challenging periods of time in my history out on the road, spending time on the street. But I realized that I've gotten this far in life, and there's other areas I want to, of course, move on to. There's other successes I want to have. But I realized that if it's going to be, it's going to be me, right? If it's going to happen, it has to be me. And I think it's the same for all of us. I think if you're looking at the areas of your life that are not working, it's not that they're not working, it's that you're not working, right? You're not stepping in, you're not asking the questions, you're not doing the work, you're not trying to figure it out. And trust me, I have areas where I really struggle in my life at times, but I don't hold anybody else responsible other than me, because ultimately I'm the only one that can actually do the work, right? I'm the only one that actually can move forward. I'm the one that has to ask the questions, right? I'm the one that has to decide. And as uncomfortable as that can be at times, and again, my path is by no means flawless and easygoing, and there's lots of challenges that continue to show up, which is the nature of life. But again, if anything's going to be, it has to be me, the one to do the work. I've got to figure it out. But there's so many resources out there for us, right? And I stopped subscribing to all these various courses. I just stopped paying money. I stopped buying numerous books on how to realize that I had 20 books on the same topic and 4 courses on the same idea. And I realized that continue to read is good, and continue to take courses is great. But at some point in time, we actually have to act on the information. And I think that's the holdup for so many of us. We know better, we're just not doing better, right? So part of the simple act of doing this is a reminder of me of how I got through life and how I've made it this far. And the simple act of actually doing this for my daughter reminds me of the fact that I can figure things out, right? If it's important enough to me, I'll figure it out, right? And this is such a simple thing, right? Just not a great ballet bun. It's a little poofy and it could be a little bit tighter. But again, with practice, I'll get better at it. And again, it's I have a reason why I'm doing this. It's important to me, right? My relationship with my daughter is really important to me. So it's, but it goes with most things in my life. If I don't put enough importance on the outcome, I won't actually do the work in between. And part of the hold that I used to have is that I used to think about all the challenges in between, how difficult it was going to be, how much frustration it was going to be, what would happen if I fail, right? Who's responsible for this? Who's responsible for that? And I got caught up in so much of this dialogue, and I realized that, regardless of how much of the stuff I'm thinking about may be true, it's still irrelevant. I still have to move forward and do the work. So my trajectory through life has brought me to this point in time where I have a life that has some opportunity to it. And again, it's still hard work, and I still deal with some anxiety around certain decisions, and it's still challenging, but I'm still moving forward despite the discomfort that I may feel from time to time. And again, the simple act of doing something like this is just a reminder of me that if I'm willing to do this, right, I'm willing to follow through and do simple things like this. It reminds me that that's how I got through life. That's how I figured out, that's how I got here in this part of my life, is that I took the time to ask for help. I took the time to figure it out. I took the time to realize and develop the awareness of that for any problem that I'm currently dealing with, somebody has already found the solution because somebody else has gone through it as well. All right. So again, I think it's when we stop commiserating around what the problem is and start looking for people that have had the same difficulties and they've actually found a path that they move forward, like creating things like this. And again, like the YouTube videos that I found on how to do ballet buns, you'll find that when we stop thinking about the problem and we become more solution focused, that so many things will open up to us beautifully. So, guys, that's I got to do a little more practice here. It's got to be a bit tighter. And my next stage, of course, we're going to work on French braids and high ponies and all sorts of kind of cool things. But again, like I said, it was just a really interesting kind of metaphor for the success I've had in different parts of my life, right? From not having any education to developing, to being self-educated in many different ways. From not finishing school to being a columnist for a newspaper, from not finishing school to being getting involved in orthopedic rehab. And there's so many interesting things that I had to keep reminding myself of what I've accomplished over time, because my brain likes to reference the failures and the shortcomings of my past. And I think we all have that challenge in front of us from time to time. So anyway, guys, hope you have an amazing day, and I got to get back to work. I think I got a French braid coming up next. Okay, take care.